So I think it's one of the earliest, maybe the first run of the game, and it's just not ideal. So the Eagles team's going to slant, and Jenkins is really the only guy who kind of has this pegged. And you just got bodies everywhere. We've got the left tackle, the right guard whiffing on his play, guys in the backfield, and again, pre preseason football was important because every single one of these guys is tipping where they're going, and whether we're not identifying that on tape or whether we're not just getting enough reps to understand and be comfortable with the footwork, like that is an automatic response. I see something that I've seen on tape. I need to step with my right foot instead of my left foot, or with my left foot instead of my right foot. Like you don't do it, and if it's that obvious, like if it's that obvious to me sitting here, I can't imagine what it should look like to the guys that are studying this for 20 hours a week because it's their job. These are big time throws by Jordan Love, and we're just showing this one in the middle slot to, I think it's to Dobbs on the out. Like, not a lot of dudes in the league can put this ball down. Obviously, a great catch, but this is what, every time that he, you know, has steps into a throw, it's that's a very very difficult, very very special throw that he just makes look routine. So Wicks is officially my new favorite wide receiver, man. First of all, he got this like wheel motion. Let me get back to this. I mean, this guy's awesome, right? So they put him in this like whirly bird motion. He comes back down that lead fullback, why not? Right on the safety. Comes downhill, gives him everything he needed, and and then just tries to get a little bit more later on. Now on the backside, we got Josh Myers getting backdoored, and his guy ends up getting on the tackle. So we got Wicks making the play in the box. We need our center to do the same. Now, details. We talk about Sean Ryan, and this is just a reps thing. And again, this is a preseason thing, but you also have to identify here details of the sport. If you put your inside hand, so his left hand, on that defensive tackle and turn your shoulders at all, and you're going to that middle linebackers in the A gap between the center and the right guard, like you're not getting them, especially the Philadelphia Eagles defense. You're just not getting them. So he takes a decent step. He just puts that hand in for the half second, but now his body position's square when it should be angled. Can't get through, gets beat inside, tackle when we have a good play, right? So details matter. Wasn't a hard thing, right? Probably reps it every day, but if you allow it, you're complicit, and if you're doing it on your own, not smart. I, I had to put this in here, man. The safeties for the Philadelphia Eagles early in this game. So you run a play like this, you see Jaden Reed's has come backside, and this is essentially like the old kick play, but they're going to actually kick out the corner because they think the corner is going to make the tackle because the safety's so deep. Safety comes from depth and just tornado tackles this guy with like a spin on Jacobs. I was really impressed early on. If you're talking about tone setters in this game, nothing like Brian Dawkins back in the day for the Eagles, but these guys did set the tone. Really impressed with the way they came downhill. This is what we're talking about early in the game as you go back and watch it and you go, man, like, what's the difference in the run game? What's going on right now? There's obviously a couple plays like I showed early, but there's also just holding calls. These penalties that kill you, unforced errors. This is a situation where if you're turned with your chest to the sideline, like we are here at the tight end position, and hands out, extended, pulling in. This is a little bit different for me than like you're in the pocket, the quarterback scrambles out. This is a situation you really should be as square as possible to the line of scrimmage. So if you've turned your body and you're pulling this guy away, like unforced error, man, totally unnecessary. And this gets us down to the 5 or the 4 yard line, and all of a sudden now we're backed up another 10. I think that was after one of the big turnovers by Hurts, or the center quarterback exchange. So under center play action, I absolutely love this. But you see the depth of the linebackers, you see the pocket, you see the depth of the safeties. They've done everything right. They schemed the right play. The only thing they didn't plan for is this Bush League field that I'm sure was hailed by Goodell as a great success. But we slip on the route, can't make the play. And look, like in the Green Bay Packers, with the field that they have, you got to think to yourself that they would know what cleats to wear, Do I need to wear longer spikes? Blah blah blah. But you got to understand these days, like Nike, they don't make those cleats anymore for wide receivers. Like you have to put on a whole new shoe. Like the speed cleats that you like the soccer cleats that these guys are wearing sometimes that they wear all year. They don't make them with the screw ins anymore. So you have to actually try on a different shoe, and a lot of guys aren't comfortable with that. Listen, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying like why don't we just make sure the field's in better condition? So we kind of bumble through the running game a little bit, and they finally find the plays that are going to work. So guys are moving. So if let's just think about how we're game planning this, right? If guys are moving on the defensive line, what can we do to make that an advantageous situation for us? Well, we got to catch them because when the guys are moving on the front, that means they're trying to switch gaps with who? The linebacker. So if we get more doubles and start running some gap stuff, now we're putting ourselves in a position where we got two guys trying to catch a moving target. That second level guy is going to be right moving right into us. If we're like, for example, for this the left guard and the left tackle play side here, and then we've got a guy in the move that can kind of read this out on the way. So we find it, great cut, good footing, up slips at the end, as you can imagine. Now we just go right back to the other side. I think Zach Tom does a great job of. What am I looking at here? Wrong play. So exact same play. Excuse me. Now Sean Ryan does a great job of rolling his hips through on this block. You see his hands outside, but this is a picture perfect kind of hole if you're a running back, right? You've got everybody covered up, inside leverage to the running back, and he's got really a great seam right here to get to the safeties. I mean, these are big time plays, and again, in some ways, this turf kind of equals everybody out, right? There's going to be some opportunities on both sides. You're not getting really a true look of either team. I had to put this in, man. Look at Walker all the way downfield, man. It's such a big time play by him. I love when the big fella gets downfield. I remember Mike Flanagan was down. We were playing Minnesota Vikings. I think we ran a screen. I think Marco and I we did our jobs, peel backs and cutouts. Flanagan's like 50 yards downfield, man, just blocking like the linebacker, the safety, like long arm him for like 50 yards. I'm thinking like, dude, that might be the play of the year for an offensive lineman. These things are phenomenal. So when you talk about plays, or we're one play away, we're two plays away, like I have to look at these. So eyes are going to the left, feet are going to the left. He just throws this thing out to the right, man. And this should be a pick six, no question about it. I mean, we get very, very lucky here, and we can show these plays on both sides. But my point to everybody is like, let's just pump the brakes a little bit on. We got a lot of work on. Win or lose, you always got a lot to work on. So when we motion out to trips, they have to adjust. What does that mean? They're going to go back to their single safety high. They're going to bring that safety down, and they're going to basically run their five across defense at about 10 yards. Okay, that's going to put single safety back. They're running essentially cover three. You'll see it here, and you see. Sorry, there's one guy ahead of the 40, but there's basically 4 or 5 guys on the 40 right now, and all standing flat-footed, staring at the quarterback. So what does that mean? If you run two guys high, there is so much space on that backside as long as you occupy the backside defensive back with a quick out route. Jaden gets the ball. There's no way you're making a tackle in space, especially on this field. All the way down in. Fantastic play call, fantastic throw. Great play by Jaden. This is what we talk about. Basics win ball game. So we have just very, very simple double team. I think Zach Tom just rolls his hits perfectly in here. We pull the backside guard. All right, so we don't get a lot out of Jordan Morgan right here as far as he takes too far a step inside. They play right into Zach, but Zach does such a good job of rolling and sustaining this block. Jenkins does a good job of coming through and get what he needs to get done. But Zach Tom really makes this play onto the safety. And those little things, like when you start talking about who really good players are in the National Football League, especially the tackle position, you get paid for your blocks, but you get credit for your runs. Penei Sewell is being, he just got paid, and he's being looked at as kind of the premier right tackle right now because that dude in the run game murders people. And Zach Tom, I don't know if like physically he's at that level, but when you just talk about guys that are trying to do the things the right way and trying to finish in the run game, fantastic job by him. We got 5 across. We're really just here. I'll show that again. Really basic concept. They're just trying to take advantage of the slot defender. So they're going to run basic on the outside and just run the turnaround at about the 32. And all we have to do is make a decision on what that slot defender does. We occupy the linebacker with the tight end, and he's got all the space to throw, but just a timing issue. And this kid, again, we don't know. He throws the ball behind. We don't know if that's because of the turf. We don't know if that's because of his footwork. You know, there's a lot of stuff we still got to work out. Go 5 across again and empty, and they go blitz. So they look like they're going to show outside. They bring the mic. They drop the inside slot off the tight end on the right. Or excuse me, off the slot on the right into the middle. Now instead of keeping this high, he kind of plays it across. He's running into that defender. Jordan probably feels like he has to throw it a little bit higher now because of the angle. You get a step in, play on the football. Like these kind of things. And so how do you make that easier? You throw the ball earlier, right? You throw the ball as soon as you get it. And as a tight end, you get that angle a little bit higher. One way or another, you're going to get hit there. But you don't want to run into the second guy because running into the second guy makes that ball float a little bit. Motion and trips again, big time throw. I showed this one very similar earlier. Just trying to single up that receiver outside, running the out. Man, I love this. So we got 2 double teams, and these are the plays that started to become very, very effective for us with those moving targets, right? So you see the linebackers right here, and Myers gets a little bit of this guy. Safety comes in and just absolutely crushes the linebacker. They both whiff air. I mean, that's an all-time miss. That's the Sports Center, not top 10, man. Fantastic, fantastic friendly fire. Love it. You look at this hole, and one thing when you're playing well, like in the case of Elgton Jenkins, they're trying to run the ball over you a lot because you're just doing a nice job here of maintaining your balance. We just call that bumper footwork. Closing the door, having a car crash with that linebacker as he shoots that A gap. Great run here by young man, Manuel Wilson. And so, as we kind of go through this tape, 29 points. It's like, what are you going to do? 29 points, you should win. You should win every football game. You score 29 points.